It's gonna be good. It's gonna be great. It's gonna be better. I can't wait. Making my move. Live for the day. Sing like a bird. Fly like a plane. Come spill with me, Jenny D.
Hello, my beautiful people. Thank you for joining me with another episode on Spill With Me, Jenny D. I am just so excited and delighted to have my guest here. But before I introduce him, I would like to thank my sponsors. This is July. We're talking about melanoma. We're talking about health, physically, mentally. And, my sponsors this month is Desire to Be Well with Sandy Kern. And I also have St. Clair Health. So thank you so much for sponsoring Spill With Me, Jenny D. And with further ado, I don't even know if that's a word, further ado. I have my guest here. This is Tommy Rodriguez. Did I say it right?
Yes, you did.
Okay. Tommy, Tommy and I met at this luncheon just like a few weeks ago. And I was like, wow, his personality, introduced himself and was just not even nervous and got up and spoke because we did that 1 minute elevator speech.
Commercial.
Like, hi, my name is blah, blah, blah. And I haven't done that in a while. So I was kind of like, ooh, I don't even know where to begin again. But it was really exciting to meet all these new people. And I just was like, wow, I find this young man that is doing so much good things. And I just realized he could be my son. And he knows my nephew. Okay. So we're going to get into this. So Tommy, introduce yourself. Like, what is your title for the listeners and the viewers? What would you call it?
Yeah. So I'm the Chief Growth Officer here at Network Smart, which incredibly blessed to be that here at such a young age at 26. And then I'm also a life coach as well. What I specialize in is just helping young entrepreneurs and people of all ages just overcome all self-doubt and limiting beliefs.
Yeah. So I think about this. I'm like, okay, wait a minute. He's like 26 and he is already like seeing things and knowing things for such a young age. So let's go back a little bit, Tommy. So when you were in high school, did you know, how like a lot of, what are you going to be when you grow up? Or where are you going to go to school? What are you going to major in? Did you find any struggles in that in high school? Or did you always know what you were going to do?
Yeah. So Jenny, I had no idea at all. Yeah, so zero idea, guys. I had no idea what I was going to do.
And that's okay.
Yeah.
Right? Because how can you know?
Exactly.
How can you know?
Exactly. And that's a big thing too, just for everyone out there. It's everything in life leads to your purpose. There's not one thing that's just going to be your purpose or, hey, you're here. Everything's always leading to that next thing that you're going to get in life.
I like that. So when you went to high school, are you a Pittsburgher?
Yes, I am.
Okay.
Yes. From Pittsburgh.
Okay. Yep. What area did you live in?
Ross Draper Township.
Ross Draper. Okay.
Yep.
Nice. So when you got out of high school, where did you end up going?
Yeah, so I went to IUP for 5 years. Really, really great time there. Built a ton of relationships, friends that turned into family for me. Really, really great time there.
What was your major?
So it was small business and entrepreneurship.
Oh, I didn't even know they had that. Okay. Yeah. So were you an athlete? What did you?
So very involved, Jenny. So I was a big part of my fraternity. Every intramural sports team you could imagine, every club you could imagine, just everything I could possibly join, I did. So
that's so great. And you have such a great personality, and it seems like people gravitate towards you because you have a wonderful smile and you're very welcoming. So tell me a little bit about, so when you were in college, you realized, you know what, doing the studies and reading textbooks is not really your forte. What brought you to know what you wanted to do?
Yeah, so I think
strengths.
Yeah, so I think just building my fraternity, just working with others and just bringing people together at my university, I really found that sales, might be an avenue for me. And it was crazy that came about because no one ever grabbed me, Jenny, and said, hey, Tommy, you're going to crush it in sales. You have this personality and all of that. And it was so by the wayside. I just almost had no idea. And almost like a switch kind of flipped for me there.
Isn't that the best? Because what were you going to go into if you weren't going to go into what you did?
Honestly, I was in the physical education field, which is just, such a huge flip there. I was an athlete growing up in school and in sports.
Yeah.
So that was just something I was like, oh, okay, I'll be a gym teacher,
Yeah.
So yeah.
You just, you don't know. And I always think about this because my kids are around your age, and I always think, how do you know what you want to do? You're sitting there, you're in high school, your dreams are like, okay, here I go. I get to go to college and I get to experience. And then you realize you get out of college and you graduate and you're like, okay, now what do I do? Like, how did you feel when you graduated? Did you know, okay, or did you meet somebody, or did you go to any networking groups? How did you spiral into what you're doing now?
Yeah. So what I did, all I did was mass apply to a ton of sales jobs. I landed at my first sales company, showed up on my first day with no idea where I was going or what to expect. And then
you have a briefcase with you?
yeah, I did. Honestly, my dad actually bought me a briefcase like 2 weeks before. He's like, here, son, like I got you a briefcase. I'm like all ready to go.
I love that.
And yeah, I just landed right at my first sales company, fell in love and worked my way up there. And it was like, that was it from there. So
I just can imagine, because listen, I not envy, but I feel bad for a lot of the kids getting out of school and just going for those interviews and really putting yourself out there. And that's what you have to do. And it's almost like you have to start from like the bottom up. I remember when I got out of school way back when, I was working at a radio station and it was AM. Yeah. Because I couldn't get into the FM stations. Like, radio and TV were really big. We didn't watch Netflix and our phones, we didn't have phones. So I remember I started from the bottom, and I keep telling my kids or anybody around, you got to start from the bottom and then work your way up. But when you get out of school and you know what you want, especially sales, you can do really well in sales. So that to me shows that you had like the drive and you really wanted to do this. So tell me a little bit about like after you did your sales job, what did you do after that?
Yeah. So after I did my sales job, I transitioned into doing life coaching. And that's really my passion. I'm very, very passionate about just helping others get from where they are to where they want to go in life. And just obliterate anything that's holding them back from where they want to go. I just believe everyone has their own unique gifts, talents, and abilities, and they can just use them to do whatever they like in their life. So
I like that. And it's like, how did you realize that? Did you meet somebody, or did you just realize with you and your experience that you were going to help somebody else?
Yes, I would say I met a really good mentor in my life that has helped me a ton. And his name's Jeff Erdley. I would share that. He's just been pivotal in my life. He showed me a ton, and just a man of integrity. And I just really want to give him props for a lot of my success today as well.
Oh, yeah. You know what? You almost need that person. You need that person to your parents will, oh, you're the best. You're the greatest. Yeah. But you also need someone in your workforce, whatever you're doing, to kind of give you that like push and say, you know what? I can see something in you, or I can see that you should go down this path, because sometimes you do go to school and you think you're going to be something. Like say you go into the health field. No, I think I want to be a nurse. And then all of a sudden you get out of school and you realize, you know what? You do a couple internships, you're like, this is not for me. So I think that's, to me, that has to be the hardest things for the young adults nowadays, because you spend all this money on school and you come out and you're like, I don't enjoy this. So I need to go back to school to get education just to pursue the dream or the job that you want to do.
100%, Jenny. And something else I would just add to that is I believe there's two ways to learn in life. It's fail and learn, fail and learn, fail and learn.
Oh, let me write that down.
Or learn from a mentor that's already done it. So I would say those two things is really how you get ahead in life. And I've been fortunate to have some really good mentors to, help me out along the way. So,
explain that a little bit. Fail to learn, fail to learn.
Yeah. So
you might be on something.
Yeah. So I believe, Jenny, anything I do in life, 60% ready, and then I do it. So a lot of people in life, they use perfection or being a perfectionist to hold them back in life. They think they need to have every single thing figured out to go that next step or to attempt to accomplish something. But in reality, you need to get in the room, figure it out, and continue to keep going.
Hello. I remember I did an internship at QED, which you probably don't even know QED. That's for Sesame Street and Mr. Rogers. And I remember I was there doing an internship, and the woman wrote to my professor or something, how did she do, blah, 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 any comments. And, she put on there, she did really well, but she's a perfectionist. Like I would go over my work like 3 times. I'd be like, is that right? Is that right? And because I had no idea what I was doing. I was making sure I was being thorough. And I remember when I started this podcast, I thought, we have to stop trying to be perfect, because that really isn't a word. It really isn't true. Like, nobody is perfect. Everybody's got, and we all have flaws, and we all have things that kind of hold us back. So you're right. If we go through life thinking, well, I can't do this until I lose weight, or I can't do this until I make more money, or I can't do, all these excuses and these hurdles, don't you think?
Oh, 100%. And I think those are just limitations that, others put on themselves. And it's quite literally holding them back. And they might do that because they don't want to attempt that, but it's holding them back in their minds.
How did you get your mindset on straight to be confident enough to, go to these networking groups with, a lot of the people there are much older than you?
Yeah, so I would share one book with you, Jenny, and everyone listening that really changed my life. And it's The Energy Bus by John Gordon. Was very pivotal in my journey, but relentless work after that as well. So all 29 of John Gordon's books now I have read. A lot of Ed Milet, Brendan Burchard. I've done a lot of their work. I've met John Gordon in person.
No way.
Yeah, I had the opportunity to meet him in Dallas.
Where is he from? He's in Dallas?
Yeah, he is from Florida, but I was at an event, Day of Development in Dallas in October, but was really cool there. I got to meet him, invaluable conversations with him.
You're kidding.
Yeah.
I bet that was so
exactly. Especially because, one of those books just really helped me in my career for us to have that conversation. And he said to me, he was like, Tommy, we're doing this all together. So that was really invaluable to me and just drives me to keep going. But a lot of personal development and growth in that aspect I've done on my own as well. So
doing this together. I like that. We're doing this together. And, that's what a lot of times when you see people in the corporate world and they're moving up the ladder, because when I worked in television, it was like, you became promotion assistant, then I became the marketing assistant, then I became the marketing director. You're moving up that ladder and you seem to be like more of an individual. But for him to say, we're doing this together kind of resonates with me, because I really think that, the young people coming out of school, they need that person. They need that mentor. And they also need someone to help them through it. Like, tell me about the Energy Bus. What is it about?
Yeah, so it's about a guy named George who's very negative. He's negative about everything in his life. And one day he gets a flat tire and he has to ride a bus for 6 to 12 weeks until his car is fixed, and it ends up changing his entire life. So it's a really good mindset book.
Yeah, don't tell me this.
Yeah, to flip the switch and everything. So we'll leave that as like a little cliffhanger there for everyone else to read.
That is pretty interesting.
But it's really good stuff, really good, and for all ages too as well. Not even.
But that to me right there, like, if you're reading something or you find something that's really going to help you through things, that to me is like heaven sent. Because here's the thing. We're all trying to navigate. But our mindset, when you talk about negativeness, our mind sometimes tells us, you can't do that. You're not good enough. So how do you, as a life coach, how do you kind of transition that and try to help people know that, you know what, you are able to do that. You are great. How do you do that?
Yeah. So the biggest thing I work with them, Jenny, is the baseline thinking of any human being is what if negative. So I get them focused from what if negative to what if positive. What if this does happen? What if we do break through? What if we do get to that next step? Right. And that's a really big focus.
Yeah, the good stuff.
What I do.
Think about the good stuff. Like, what if we do? What if this, hey, what if my podcast becomes, I was going to say syndicated. Is that right?
Yeah.
Could be like Howard Stern, but it's Jenny D.
Yeah.
No, I mean, you do. You think about like, hey, you just never know. So if you don't put yourself out there, you don't try to live your life. I mean, you're already 26 and you're already helping, are you helping people a lot with life coaching that are older than you?
Yes, I do. Yeah, which is really incredible for me. I have an analogy I want to show too, Jenny,
Yes, I want to write it down.
I think really helps just with the what if negative and the what if positive. So I like to use the NASCAR analogy. So as you're a NASCAR driver, one of the first things they teach them, Jenny, as they're driving, 200 miles an hour around the racetrack is don't look at the wall. Why don't they look at the wall? Because the second they start looking at the wall, subconsciously, they start moving closer and closer and closer to it. It's the same thing with our negative thoughts, right? So the longer and the more we think negatively, the closer and closer we're going to get to that negative thought. And it's going to bring things in our lens that are going to confirmed that thought to us as well. So
wow,
I'd like to share that.
Tommy,
as well.
that was a really good analogy, and it makes so much sense.
I appreciate that. Yeah, so I think a mentor along the way, kind of a bunch of different ones, and me putting it into my own, I guess you would say.
It is true. Like, I mean, you have to look straight forward. You have to look ahead, and you have to like keep your mind and your vision on that prize, whatever it may be. You know, it depends on, like, everybody has a different goal. But like, for instance, for me, and I don't know if it's my generation, but I didn't find my passion until I was in my late 40s. I didn't realize, like, wait a minute, I need to be doing a podcast. I need to be spilling with people and sharing their stories and helping other people, because there might be somebody out there listening, Tommy, that might say, oh, wait, you know, I'm kind of the same age and I don't know what to do and I'm negative and I'm just going to work for my dad, or I'm just going to like mow lawns because, you know, I don't have the mindset to really, you know. What do you say to the people that are your age that are just getting out of school?
I would say the sky's the limit for you at any age. And a quick story I'll share just to piggyback off that is Colonel Sanders, KFC, he didn't start KFC till he was 67 years old. When he was 66 years old, Jenny, he took his product to 1,000 restaurants to offer them a royalty deal. He got 1,006 no's. None of them wanted to carry his product in the restaurants. So then that 1,007th time, he decided to go out and start KFC at 67 years old. And now you see KFC today. So that's what I would say, you know, to everyone out there. Yeah. You know, there's no right timing. You can make it happen.
And sometimes you have to accept the word no. You know, maybe sometimes that no will make you stronger, build you up to just realize that, you know, it's okay if you find somewhere or you find something that really, maybe it wasn't meant to be. I find that too in my life, but it's like, if I would have known what you're talking about back in my 20s, 30s, yeah, I might have changed my path, but I'm happy. And that's the thing. You can't look back if you are, you know, older like me, and you realize like, oh shoot, I can't do my passion. Yes, you can. And no age.
And something I want to share too, guys, is it's for you, not to you. Everything in your life is for you. It's leading you to that next thing. So everything that happens, just like you were talking about, it's all for you. It's all leading to that next thing. You can't ever look back like, oh, I should have done this or that. It's always learning that lesson, taking it and applying it to the next endeavor, you know, that you do.
Yeah, it is true. You have to, like, and you learn from your mistakes. You grow, and then you kind of find, you know what, I can help the next person out. And for you to like want to help people, like, do you help employees? Do you go into businesses? Like, what exactly do you do?
Yeah, so I do a little bit of everything. So, I have clients that very baseline level, they're trying to just get back into the gym. You know, I have them doing daily habits, drinking the water, stuff like that. And then I have some high performance clients, so like some small business CEOs that I free up time at night in their schedules, right? So like they're crushing it in the bank account, but I work with showing up great for their families and still having that presence and that mindset when they come home from work, working on that transition from them getting from work to home and back in that calm state. So.
And how do you do that? That's really interesting.
Yeah, so just structured systems in their schedule that I implement with them, and then just relentlessly meeting, you know, once a week, but then once a month we look at different numbers and analytics and, you know, really crunch numbers.
Really? Yeah. So that's interesting because it's kind of like, okay, well, you know, when you do, you know, say you're a CEO of a company and you do have to come home and you have kids and a family, and yeah, the stress is like pretty high. How do you get someone like that? And they look at you like, oh, okay, Tommy, you're not going home to like bills and cut the grass. And, So how do you tell them like, okay, your mindset, you got to like focus on the goods and be present when you're at home?
Yeah, so definitely was a big hurdle initially, especially in the first part of my career. But what I worked with them is just getting them to see the results quickly and buying into that belief, right? Like just showing that, you know, not only past clients, but like friends of mine, people that I've worked with in the past and where they've gotten, and just really getting them to buy in and trust me. And that's a big thing. And once the trust is there, Jenny, I'm really helping them out once they trust me. So it's just getting past that first trust, and then it's invaluable that like the feelings I get for someone 20 years older than me to tell me that I helped them out and made their family better. It's incredible. It really just fills me up.
It's so rewarding to have that. And, like if you're listening to this podcast and not viewing it on YouTube, Tommy has a smile on his face the whole time. So he is very, like, he's positive. And, that's what you want as a friend, as a life coach, somebody who's going to be positive, who's going to bring you like the good things in life and try to tell you like, hey, I might be younger than you, but let me show you what I've seen. And because I have a feeling the generation of how different it is compared to like what I've gone. We didn't have cell phones, so we didn't really communicate as much as you guys communicate so much on social media now. Mm-hmm. So a lot of things, people know everything you're doing. Like when you were, we were growing up, it was like, hey, the neighbor heard from the neighbor,
Yeah.
So now there's so much coming at you and, so many distractions. So what you're doing as a life coach, Tommy, I feel that, even though you're younger, you do know all about the social media and about things that can really kind of be a hurdle in your life. Mm-hmm. Do you know what I'm saying?
Oh, 100%. And I've seen too, I think I've had a lot of experience, Jenny, just through travel, I was fortunate in my sales companies, President's Club, different incentivized trips, stuff like that. So I've really gotten some different experience from a lot of people across the country, not only like fun travel dinner-wise, but just meeting with a lot of different people. I believe I connect with a lot of different personality types, and I'm a lifelong learner, right? I can learn from anyone, so I'm always constantly learning and trying to grow. So,
and that's so important to to see, because like with me with the podcast, my gosh, I had to learn all this stuff, and I'm still not like technically. I kind of just go with the flow. If something's wrong, I Google it and say, how do I do this? But that's the thing, and I put a lot of stress, on my kids to you got to be the best, you got to be number one. But then as like time went on, I was like, especially when they were in high school and everything, I'm like, you got to study, you got to do this, you got to get A's. We put so much pressure on your generation as parents because I think that's all we knew. We just kind of felt that we were like, kind of, what do they call the helicopter parents? We were really engaged and involved. And, just like today, I was at my son's, 7-on-7 game, because I have the flexibility with my job that I can kind of like, and like back then, my parents worked full time, so they weren't able to go to a lot of my activities. So it's so different now. And having maybe a life coach just say, hey, you want to go see your kid, play in the orchestra, or, they're doing a sporting event or anything, or in the theater. You got to make time for that too, because it's not just work. How do you try to give them a balance?
Oh, definitely. I think the most important thing, like I said, I've had clients in the past, they came and they're crushing it in the bank account. I want them crushing it in every area of their life. I want them showing up the best for their family, for their career, for their friends, for everyone around them. I want them to be just constantly getting better for everyone in their life. Just not like they already have these established relationships, so we're all good. Just always furthering that to get better and just make it better, and always have that intention and that purpose into everything you're doing. So,
and do you find it's hard with some of the people that you work with because they can't turn it off, that switch?
Yes, and that's a very, very big thing. And sometimes they've been doing it for years and years and years, right? And like the habit cycle can really, really be detrimental, but rewiring that is a big thing that I work with them. But you're exactly right. It's hard.
I like that word. I can't say it. Rewiring.
Yeah.
Okay. I had speech with my R's, people, okay? Hey, I don't care. I'll tell people. But no, it's true, because our mindset and what we know and what we think is the right thing to do is like, you got to work, got to make money, got to make money. But there's all these other aspects, right? Your social life, your fitness for yourself, like just taking that time for yourself. I mean, sometimes, having a pet or, having another home or traveling, like, do you find that you try to give them like, hey, look, you need to be doing this. You're missing something in your life.
Yeah, definitely. We always, at least once a month, we always are reevaluating just the 5 top areas that they find in their life. So we're always scoring those every single month and always just looking to get them where they want to be in that area. We're always looking at which area is lacking, and that next month really pushing for that.
Tell me about Tommy's tips.
Yeah.
That's really cute.
Yeah. So Tommy's tips, so it was pretty cool. So at my last corporate sales company, I did really well there and was number one in sales for about 2 years. So the vice president had came to me and asked me to do Tommy's tips. So it was really cool. I got to coach the entire corporation just on my sales tips, best practices of how I was successful over the past couple years.
In front of like a big audience?
Yeah.
Wow.
It was really cool, especially, I was at that time, I'd say 24 years old at a big corporation. And for the vice president, like 10 rungs probably above me, asked me to come talk to everyone was pretty cool for me. So,
well, he sees
really
that you're
cool.
energetic and that you're motivated and that you are, people want to gravitate towards you because you want to help them. That's amazing. So
I really
after
appreciate
you
that.
did that speech, what happened?
Yeah, so after that, it opened up just millions of doors for me, Jenny. It was just invaluable. I just left, went to the life coaching, and then just also mentoring sales teams as well. Like I'll do anything I'm needed for. I like to say I'm there. I'm an uplifter of people, and yeah. So.
All right. Well, listen. If you make it big, you got to remember Jeffrey. Okay.
always.
Okay.
So.
I was gonna say Gates. What's his name?
Bill Gates.
Bill Gates. Yeah. I'm like, if you become Bill Gates, you better remember the people here in Pittsburgh, PA.
Always.
Well, my podcast is nationwide. So if with being a life coach, do you just focus on the Pittsburgh area? Do you do any Zoom? Like how would somebody get a hold of you, Tommy?
Yeah, so I do a little bit of everything. Just a quick example. I had a client last month, Tacoma, Washington. She was 35, looking to get out of an operations role at Sephora into being a exec assistant to a high-level healthcare CEO. I helped her. She's from Washington. We did all Zoom. So yeah, to answer your question, I do Zoom, I do virtual, anything like that.
And how would they get a hold of you, hon?
Oh, they could just go to my LinkedIn. Yeah, I do everything through my LinkedIn.
Okay, like you don't have a website or anything?
Oh, no, I do everything through LinkedIn.
Through LinkedIn?
Yeah, so
Okay.
it's Tommy Rodriguez, LinkedIn.
And I'll have that below because I think a lot of people, it might be hard for them to spell your name. So if you are looking for a life coach and someone who's young and energetic that's going to kind of give you that fuel to be like, yeah, I need to get off the couch. I can't just come home from work and just sit around. I need to have these different avenues and have these different things in my life. Cause you have to, almost like you have to be all around. What is that? Like an all around?
Yeah, multifaceted, well-rounded, I guess. Yeah. That's a good word as well.
Well-rounded, so that you can kind of enjoy your life. Because I always say this to people, and I'm going to get a tattoo that says, life is short.
Yeah.
You only live once. Mm-hmm. And it's like, if you don't live your life the best that you want to live it and happy, then, who do you have to look at in the mirror? It's really up to you.
Exactly.
Don't you agree?
No, totally agree. 100%. Couldn't have said that better.
Right.
Honestly.
Oh, thank you.
Of course, yeah.
We're giving you, look at that. He just gave me a nice compliment. That's joking. He's my life coach. Tommy.
Of course.
Tommy, is there anything else you would like to talk to the listeners and the viewers about before we end our podcast?
Just one last thing I would say is just anything that you want to do in life, you can go out and do it. I'm an example of that. First and foremost, anyone that needs anything, any tip or anything like that, reach out. I would love to, to talk to you to help you out with your situation. And yeah, it was just an absolute pleasure to be here today. And yeah, thanks so much, Jenny, for having me.
Thank you for taking the time to even talk to my listeners and my viewers. I try to do kind of a variety, especially in the summer. And I really, when I met you, Tommy, at that luncheon, I was like, you know what, I'm going to put you in July because I am focusing on melanoma and a lot of but I'm talking about, health, and I'm talking about eating healthy, and just your mindset needs to be healthy. Take that negativeness out of your mindset. And, that's the negative could really crush you.
Oh, 100%.
And really consume you. So, I hope you enjoyed this episode with my guest, Tommy, and I'll have all the information if you would like to get a hold of him for being a life coach. So thank you so much for being on Spill with me, Jenny D. Take care.
Come spill with